Well, welcome to the Nitty Gritty Entrepreneur. I'm your host, Linda Wimple, and today we're joined by our special guest, Dean Stanzel, with Top of Mind Gifts. Welcome, welcome, Dean.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. How are you doing today?
I'm doing awesome. I'm on your show, so hey, couldn't get any better.
That's that's nice. That's cool. So, well, why don't we start by you going ahead and telling us, well, the name of your business and
Mhm.
how you create impact for your clients.
Yeah, for sure. Little bit of a backstory that helps. So I'm up in Canada, and I own Top of Mind Gifts, and we're a very niche company that focuses on high-end gift giving to help clients remain top of mind. And the story, I guess, the history is that way back in the day, I was in university as an engineering physics student. So, yeah, that background is totally different. But I was recruited by a company called Vector, and I was introduced to selling Cutco knives. And the reason that's important is back in that time for me, nobody knew about it here in the States and so on. It's much more commonly known and nowadays. So I did that for a number of years, moved on, and then ironically, my daughter was recruited and hired the exact same way 25 years later. And the reason that's important is Cutco itself, for those of you who don't know, not a plug or anything, but is the largest manufacturer of high-end knives in North America. They've been around 75 years and they're guaranteed forever. So as a 17-year-old university student starting out, to have a $1,000 set of knives was kind of weird, but now 30 years later, I still have them, still use them, still love them. And so where this ties in is my daughter was recruited again, got back into the Cutco world, and that got me back in touch with some of the management that I'd worked with years and years ago. And we had some discussions. This was during COVID, and I didn't know how people sold knives. I was like, it's a tangible physical product. You can't cut something over Zoom. And he laid back, the information of how things were going, and the company was doing really well. And in the course of that discussion, he'd asked her, what am I up to? And I was at that point just kind of trying to figure out what I wanted to do next. My youngest had just gone into school full time. And he said there's a new program with Cutco. It's historically always been a B2C business, so in-home presentations, things like that. But it's got a very good reputation. Lots of people love it, use it, have it. And so there was a business program developed, and the thought process was if people love it, they love to buy it and own it, then what better gift to give them than something like that as well? So, on a gift giving basis, that's kind of where it really clicked for me. And on the marketing standpoint, it made a lot of sense too, because when you're giving gifts, when you're trying to show appreciation, everybody wants to be different nowadays. Of course, you want to stand out. But there's some statistics and facts that go in behind the marketing that a lot of people don't realize. And that's the key thing. If you've been in sales long enough, you probably have heard the 8 touches, 12 touches, 16. The number varies as to how many times it takes to get through to somebody and make a connection. And another one of those stats is how long it takes to stay top of mind. And this is the one that's probably the hardest to achieve because you're needing about 37 touches a year. That's been studied, and that's almost once a week. So if you can imagine, how do you, as any kind of business, stay in communication, in touch with your clientele on almost a weekly basis without really annoying them? And so we looked at that, and that's kind of where Cutco ties in too, because it was a product that everybody uses. Last time we checked, nobody's ripping food apart with their hands anymore. And so everybody uses it, they use it every day. And so if you were to brand it, it's something that people will see. It's not that you're advertising to them, it's not you're shouting or anything, but they will see it subconsciously every single day or multiple times a week. And that will achieve the top of mind awareness that is so critical. And I always like to clarify to people, everybody wants a referral business. Ideally, if all your clients came from referrals, that's the perfect world. But we all know that for most of us, that doesn't happen. And the funny thing is, the reason typically is not because your clients don't like you or didn't want to. Most businesses, most of their clients are happy customers, and they actually say they would refer them. But in the instance, in the moment, if you think about it, everybody's been here, you're at the mall, you're at the hockey game, you're at the beach, whatever. Somebody says, hey, we're moving, got a promotion, got to go over here. Do you know a good realtor, for example? And you get the pause and the look and the scratching of the head going, yeah, I know this perfect person. I just can't remember their name, right? Everybody's done it, everybody's heard it, it's true. And that opportunity is lost. I mean, I'll say it for myself and probably for the rest of humanity that we're lazy. We're not going to go home and look up the business card and get back. And, we just don't do that. So if you're not top of mind in that 6 seconds, then that's an opportunity that's lost. And that is what I'm trying to do with my business is help people stay top of mind to capitalize on those types of situations. Very long-winded answer, but that's kind of what I try and do for businesses and uh, what I do to help them.
That is awesome. That's awesome. So you've talked about the inspiration
Hmm?
to get going on this. So um, why don't you tell us along your journey, your along your journey, about a difficult challenge that you've had?
Well, that's the whole journey.
Well,
Being an entrepreneur, um, we've got the emotional ups and downs. I think for most solopreneurs, especially, you're part salesman, part business owner, etc. And so facing those emotional challenges, the setbacks and everything else, that's very frustrating. It's very hard on you emotionally. Am I doing the right thing? Am I going to succeed? All those kind of things. And these aren't specific to me, but they're, I think, challenges that, again, I faced, everybody faces that's in business. And if you're in business, you probably can relate. You're probably nodding your head saying, yeah, yeah, I've been there, I got it. So those are more generic. More specifically, it's interesting in this business, I'm very unique. I won't say I'm the only one in the world, but I'm in a very, very small group of people of doing what I do specifically. And my biggest challenge nowadays is ironically not how to compete, how am I better than somebody else? It's awareness. And it's an interesting challenge because most products, most services, people at least have some inkling of, and therefore it's a matter of how am I different? How do I stand out? For me, they don't even know I exist in a lot of cases. So my biggest challenge is market awareness, people understanding, being aware, seeing what it is I do. I'm not looking to sell anybody or convince them. I just want them to know I'm out there and if it makes sense that I'm an option for them. So that's my biggest challenge right now. And, as you know, the podcast here, everything else, for me, the best way to address that is to just get out there, show people, tell people, and again, get the word out, spread the word.
so I was just going to ask, well, how do you overcome that challenge?
Oh, well, let me tell you, no, I'm like stealing all your thunder here.
No, you're
Uh,
fine.
so yeah, I mean, that's what I do. Everybody's got different ways that they can run their business and different ways that benefit their business or are the best paths to take. For me in particular, it has turned out to be referrals, networking, one-on-ones. Um, I'll dive a little deeper. It's interesting that, again, mainly I work with Cutco. You know what? For the people who are viewing this, in case anybody doesn't know, this is what I do. We take Cutco knives, brand, engrave, and give them away. Um, in addition to that, I do a new product pop-up cards. I'll show you those later. But ultimately, um, again, the challenge is letting people know. And when I tell people, yeah, give somebody a knife, brand it, engrave it, they look at it every week, it gives top of mind awareness. I have not had a person yet who hasn't said, that makes sense. It's not rocket science, despite the fact that I'm an engineer. Um, it's common sense, and yet it's just different enough that people don't think about it, and that's why it's effective. But at the same time, I can't put an ad out because, and I try and explain this to people, I use a product like Cutco. I love it. Everything's great, but I don't sell Cutco. So I'll let that sink in for a minute. what I do, what my business is about, what I sell is top of mind awareness. How do you stay top of mind with your clients? And ultimately, that's a pretty big question and pretty important, although sometimes it falls by the wayside. But the reason I use Cutco is to help deliver that. But what I'm actually selling is the top of mind awareness. So, with that kind of a distinction, I can't put out an ad saying I'm selling Cutco. I can't advertise myself as a coach that does branding. I can't do a lot of the different things that I touch on, but it's just the little twist, the little thing that makes it unique, which is the benefit that also makes it really hard to promote. So that's where I've gone the networking route. It, again, doesn't take me a heck of a lot to explain it, but in 3 or 5 minutes, I can convey the message that I can't do any other way. So for me personally, networking is the way I've gone, and that's been an interesting evolution as well. I think most most businesses, most people benefit from word of mouth referrals, networking to some extent. Other ones benefit a lot more, and mine falls into that category. And I'm also, as you probably can tell, not shy. So I'm happy going out there, talking to people, telling them what I do, listening as well. And I'm part of several different networking groups. And the interesting thing I've learned amongst, there's a lot of things, but the interesting thing I've learned is you never know when you need to know somebody. And that's rang true over and over for me. I I kind of joke, I wouldn't say I meet with anybody, but by and large, if somebody wants to learn more about me, I'm curious, I want to learn about them. And maybe there's never a connection there. Oftentimes there isn't. But I've had really odd scenarios where, like, funeral homes and people that are in services that nobody knows about, places where you wouldn't typically think of gifting. And it's not that they're clients, but they may need something that somebody else offers that I've also run into that has nothing to do with me. And being able to make those kinds of introductions um, it's great for them. I feel good about doing it. But over time, as things evolve and more of these things happen, it's coming back, put it out there and it'll come back to you. The giver's gain type of philosophy. And the
Okay.
more people I help, the more I've found that they're willing to listen, helping spread the word, sharing, and everything like that. And
Okay.
that's been really beneficial.
Okay. That's awesome. Dean, it's time for us to take our first break of the show.
Awesome.
I know. So when we come back, let's talk more.
Absolutely.
Sound good?
Okay, sounds good. See you
Okay.
soon.
Okay.
Are you a conscious co creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour Awakening Humanity, Thursdays 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a high achieving, growth oriented leader? Are you interested in developing your authentic leadership while creating a healthy, inclusive workplace? Hi, I'm Dr. Mira Broncu, host of The Hard Skills on talkradio.nyc at 5 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays, where we discuss how leaders develop the hard skills needed to make a greater impact. We interview experts, have live coaching, and tackle these challenges. Listen to The Hard Skills on Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC. Uplift, educate, empower.
Well, welcome back. You're listening to the Nitty Gritty Entrepreneur, and I'm your host, Linda Wemple. We're interviewing Dan, Dean Stanzel with top of mind gifts. So welcome back, Dean.
Thank you.
Yeah. So you were talking when we had before the break, you were talking about the networking.
Mhm.
Did you want to talk more about that and the knowledge that you've gained?
No, for sure. And I think one of the things that's again kind of evolved is the more people that I try and help through that networking, the more people that try and help me. And again, in a business where I'm trying to get awareness and get people familiar with or even, knowing that I exist, it's something that is very beneficial. And it's also one of those things where I think I can come in genuinely interested and curious and inquisitive about a lot of businesses. I wouldn't say I'm a modest person, but I realize that I don't know a heck of a lot, or there's a lot of stuff that I can learn about. And almost every meeting I have, I do try and take something away. Might be a major thing, might be a little thing, but there's always something you can learn and apply. And in doing that, I think with that approach maybe or that mentality, I've been able to take a combination of a really unique situation I'm in. I'm excited and very passionate about showing people what I do, but at the same time, it's an opportunity to get in front of people who have seen everything, who are interested simply because it's something new and unique. But it's opened up a whole different world for me because I'm talking to all these varieties of people, all different sectors. It's nice in that my business is really non-denominational, if you will. And so I come across people in different industries at different levels. And of course, those people then know other people. And I like to think that, again, what we do is not only unique and different, but it's pretty fun and exciting. And people get on board with that. And then they want to show other people and tell other people. And the higher you climb in the networking circles, the more you get introduced to other people in those similar circles. And then, so it's indirectly been a path for me to get in front of more powerful, connected influencers, and that's good for my business to be able to offer or operate, get awareness in those industries. But it's also allowed me to make connections that can benefit other people too. Uh, it's funny, I think we have preconceived notions wherever you're at in business as to who you are, what you do, what your business is about, how it should operate. And yet, one of the things I've learned from this is that really a lot of us are similar in a lot of ways, regardless of where we're at. And we shouldn't presume or assume things in a lot of cases. So, a lot of businesses, maybe a smaller, copywriter wouldn't think to say, I want to be the editor for a massive Fortune 500 company. And odds are they probably won't ever be, but maybe they have one niche area that they don't think much of, but that I find out about and think it's kind of cool. And then I'm connected to somebody else where this happens to come up and I can introduce the two. It's those kind of things where there's no benefit to me, but that person would never have seen it otherwise. And they may have a solution that that executive would never have found otherwise as well. So it's very symbiotic. Everybody kind of wins from it. And the more I do it, the more I see the benefits personally, as well as the impact or influence I have helping other people too. So I don't even know if I'm still on track, but that's a little bit of a tangent on kind of my networking experience.
Yeah. And so you also talked about the results. Yeah.
Yeah. And the results of networking are there. And it's funny, I tend to almost talk myself away from my own business and product because it's just fun doing what I do. But on the gifting side of things, again, it is something that applies to every business, and it's also something that unfortunately is not on the forefront of most people's minds. It tends to be more of the afterthought, and yet strategically, when done well, thought put in, and so on, it can have a really big impact on people and their businesses that I don't think most people realize. And the using Cutco as an example, um, there is no magic bullet. There's no perfect product. You can't take a really nice shiny knife that's got a beautiful engraving and say, "Yeah, thanks for your business. Here's a knife." that doesn't do very much. But if you turn it around and craft it in the way that, in my case, I have Cutco, I've had it for my whole life. I love it. Yeah, I really value it and find it useful. And I was trying to think of something to, reflect our relationship and something meaningful that I could give to you. And so I wanted to do this for you as well. And, over time, if there's other people that you think of that might benefit from my services, I'd like to help you build your Cutco set. And now the person's going, wow, this is really special. This is all about me. It's practical and strategically, it's something they will use and think about the person that gave it to them. So everything is simple, but there's details and logistics and little tweaks here and there that make it much more impactful. And that doesn't just apply to me and my business. It really applies to a lot of businesses. I was talking to some tradespeople the other day, and sometimes, the little things are what matter. I know when I had my roof done on my house, they did a good job, and other people would have done a good job. But the thing that stood out the most is that they went around with a magnet and picked up the little extra staples around the side of the house that had fallen off when they were roofing. So, I mean, you don't sell that as a feature, but in my mind, that stuck out more than anything else. And I'll tell people now, sadly enough, I remember them doing it. I love them for doing it, but I don't remember their name because I haven't used them in 12 years. Thus, they should be doing something to help me stay top of mind so that I can refer them because I do like them. So kind of there, full circle.
Oh, very what's the word? Creative. I mean,
Mhm.
because you're getting into you're customizing
Yeah.
into with every little detail.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of places in life, I think, where they say, the details matter, pay attention, look after the pennies, the dollars look after themselves, all those kind of things.
Mhm.
And it is very true. And it's not just in those circumstances. Sometimes it's in like that, the little things that you don't even think about doing or haven't put thought into doing, but that have the biggest impact that you never realized. So yeah, it's definitely an important factor that I would say most people should probably put more attention or thought into. Not the gifting, but just the little things. I talk about strategy and strategic gifting. Some people roll their eyes. They're like, it's gifting. I just need to buy something nice and give it to them and impress them. But
Mhm.
like a lot of things, you really need to put thought into things if you're running a business, not working in a business, but if you're an owner and you're running it, there has to be a reason why you do everything. And if there isn't, well, then it's up to chance. But the more you can think things through, the better off you are, the more success you'll probably have, and so on.
That is so true. Resonates with me.
Anybody that's been an entrepreneur and run a business and is still running a business, so successful in that capacity, probably should be able to relate to that somewhat.
Right. Did you want to talk about the other one?
Oh, yeah, the pop-up cards.
Yes,
So Cutco is very unique and it's fun and it's got a whole story which you've heard. Again, I'm used to doing these on
I love
audio.
it.
No,
Okay.
I don't get the opportunity to show people very often, but the other thing we do is cards, but they're not normal cards. They are pop-up cards. And they're not just pop-up cards, they are custom built pop-up cards, 3D. And it's always, I find it hard for people to really grasp the depth of this without showing a few. So this is another one of mine, my little race car. And there, it's not to say we're the only company that does pop-up cards. By all means, there's other ones out there, but we're the only ones who will custom build. There's Statue of Liberty. I can't really do that very well. We're the only ones that will custom build the models. And that from a B2B standpoint, not getting your card for Mother's Day or for your birthday or something, but if you're getting business cards, if you're getting marketing pieces on a B2B basis, the ability to really tailor that to your own business and thematically and have an impact and the benefits of that with again, the third party nature is huge. So, as I just mentioned, the Christmas cards, kind of the easiest example or prospecting. It's another thing like the Cutco where it's a gift, people like it, they appreciate it, but it's something that they will keep and that they will share with others. And it's one of the few things I've come across where a really neat combination of, if you imagine this as a Christmas card, sent out to everybody. By the way, strategic gifting. If you're sending out Christmas cards, gifts, things like that, don't do it when everybody else does. Do it sometime different to stand out. Do it on Remembrance Day or Black Friday or something like that. Do it December 1st. Do it January 15th. Don't send it between the 20th and 25th when every business is getting dozens of cards and it just goes in a pile. Little tip for you. Anyways, back to the other cards. So even with that kind of a situation, if you have a pop-up card that's very unique, first of all, the right people that you want to send it to see it because people are going to show it. Second of all, it gets kept and it doesn't get stuck on the back wall and the string or whatever else, and it gets kept after when everything else is thrown out. And third, this is the magic part. If it's displayed on a counter or a desk, it will actually generate conversation. They're just, I mean, we're all kids at heart. They're just cool. So people have them out, they see them, they go, oh, what's that? And they show them the little pop-up thing, they have some fun. And of course they say, where'd you get it? Oh, my lawyer, my realtor, my, you know, tradesperson, my boiler, whoever it is, my accountant sent it to me. And there you have a situation where your customer or their customer is talking to their own customer about you without you having to prompt the conversation and lead it. It's very unthreatening, it's organic, and it gets your kind of exposure where you want. And then, of course, when people see it and they go, oh, that's really neat, then they go back to you and say, I want one next year for myself. So
Um,
yeah, those are the cards. I'll show you some more afterwards.
okay, yeah. So it's time for us to go to the next break. So it's a good time.
Yep,
So so when we come back, let's talk more about the pop-ups
sure. Sounds good.
because you found this out through experience.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so stay tuned.
Hey everybody, it's Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you from my attic. Each week here on talkradio.nyc, I host a program, Philanthropy in Focus. Nonprofits impact us each and every day, and it's my focus to help them amplify their message and tell their story. Listen each week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on talkradio.nyc.
Hi, I'm Linda Marcanico. The A Train to Sedona is a memoir about my journey to love and compassion. It's also the name of my new broadcast on Wednesdays at 12 noon. When we are spiritual, we embrace possibilities and ideas, which strengthen our mind, body, spirit, health, and wisdom. On the A Train to Sedona broadcast, I plan to interview guests who embrace these expansive practices. Join us on Wednesdays at 12 noon on Talk Radio New York City.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Well, welcome back to the Nitty Gritty Entrepreneur. I'm your host, Linda Wimple, and we're talking with Dean Stanzel with Top of Mind Gifts. So, Dean, let's dive back into it.
Yeah, for sure. I could talk about pop-up cards all day. And I think more and more nowadays, and whether you've recognized it or not, um, emotions are a very big part of sales. People don't buy under logic. They don't buy for the facts. They justify with that. They buy because they like you, because they feel good. And there is nothing I could say that's maybe not nothing, but there's very few things that can generate as much positivity, as much smiles as I have seen with the pop-up cards. We, you remember them as a kid, you've got the castle pop up or the unicorn that pops out or whatever, and we all have a smile, we all have, remembrances of things like that. So to bring that back in business in a strategic way, but in a way that's also fun, I've showed them to hundreds of people, maybe thousands now, and I have to say honestly, I don't think I've met a single person who hasn't had cracked a smile when I've showed them. And that says something. It's that the fact that everybody's doing that's the same. Uh, Tying that into business though, again, when you can blend the two together, the surprise, the delight, the kid in everybody with the business tie-in, maybe it's, doing your own trades. I joked with you, I've shown you quite a few, Linda, but hopefully this doesn't get edited out. I've a couple of great stories of cards that I've done is one in the trades industry. Now, I'll just do some pictures as I go. So for trades, we also do business cards. Here I'm jumping all over. So the business cards are cool, but they are actually pop-up. A pop-up business card. Now, this one for trades, you've got your little trade vehicle, so that's why I mentioned it. But on the pop-up card side, it's crazy. A rhetorical question, where do business cards end up? We all know. We all buy them. We all know what's going to happen to them. Well, for once, we have a business card that people actually keep. And they keep and they play with and they show other people, and it helps you stay top of mind. So that's a little side note there. But on the trade side of things, I was talking to a plumber and we were kind of having some fun with different ideas. And he was saying, well, what could we do? My logo. And ironically, your logo and your verbiage is much less important than the pop-up, the theme, the feeling that goes behind it. So he was saying, well, I'm a plumber. Maybe I should do a plunger. And so I was like, yeah, that's a cool idea. And then I get creative and I was like, you know what you should do really though? You should do a toilet. You should have a pop-up toilet in your card. And we both started laughing because it's just so preposterous, but it has that impact. Everybody I've told that to, if I said, hey, remember my plumber? What was his pop-up going to be? Every single person was like, oh, yeah, that was the toilet. It's just the way it works. And so that's an example in the trades. In the real estate, you saw the house one that I did there. Those are awesome for realtors, anybody dealing with home building, any trades really sometimes too. But I've dealt and talked to some really high-end home builders and developers, and they're not dealing with tons of people, but they're dealing with 5, 10, $15 million properties. And again, I'm always amazed when people can help expand my mind and vision for things because I like to think I'm pretty creative. But the one gentleman came back and said, can you do one of these houses to spec? Like if we have the CAD drawings and stuff. And I said, well, within reason, it's folded paper. There's only so much we can do. But yeah, we could do that. The problem is that it's a production run. It's a product. So if you're getting a specific house done that's a custom home build for a specific person, I can do it, but we need to get 150 of them. And I don't think you need that. And he said, yeah, that I can see that. I know there's a cost, but he said, ultimately, I mean, if I'm doing a $10 million house, I can pay a little bit extra to have one card made if that's all I need. And again, I was like, you know what, you're right. And for that kind of person, if you think about it, it's crazy how somebody that's buying a $10 million house, what have they not seen before? And what can you get them that they don't have? And how can you leave an impact and impression? Well, this would be a completely unique, both in terms of what it was as a gift, as well as what the gift itself is. Completely unique, something that will stand out. And in this particular case, for the builder, again, they're dealing with high-end homes and people, and those people talk. So when they have guests and parties and stuff, I can't speak for everybody, but they're the kind of things that will be on that mantle or on that thing just as a talking piece because it's unique and people that have unique stuff like to show other people how unique their stuff is, if you get what I mean. And if they have a special thing like this, it's an ego play, but it also, from the person that gave it, is immeasurable as far as the impact it's having because people are bragging about you, not about your work, and that's okay, but they're bragging about the thing you gave them, which then leads back to you. And that's my objective. That's the whole thing. So that's another kind of different way of looking at it. And we've had everything from pharmaceutical companies. Another big thing with I should show you some more cards. There's my little gift box one. I think it's
So,
kind of boring.
So, so you can use this for grand openings,
Yeah,
any celebration.
I was just going to go there.
Oh, sorry.
And no, that's fine. Like I said, you just got to shut me up because I keep talking otherwise. Um, this one here, for example, lots of whiskey, wine, fine spirits. So here's a card with a custom bottle in it. And again, I've talked to a few breweries, people that do fancy types of alcohol, and you just mentioned it. If they're doing a new launch, a new product, a new spirit, whatever it might be, if you can imagine something like that being the thank you or being on the tag of the new bottle, it's a premium thing. People are expecting that, and it's very unique. And again, when they go and they share it with somebody, they'll keep this after the alcohol's gone, and it'll be an incredible leaving piece. Um, that's ironically, that was one of the cards I was going to show you. Then there's things like this one, which is for a travel agent.
Oh, neat.
So thematic again. If this is your thank you card or whatever, you're going to remember that travel agent. You're going to show that to other people, talk about the services they gave you and everything. Um, and it goes on and on. There's hundreds of different ones that we've done, lots of buildings, architecture, but some pretty cool, unique ones too, like, samurai and lots of animals, things like that. Pretty much as far as the imagination can take you.
Yeah. Yeah. So veterinarians.
Oh, yeah. I've a person that I've just talked to that has an event space kind of in the rural barn, the that kind of a feel to it, pizza parlor. And they're thematically, they've got a goat. That's kind of their mascot, their thing. They like goats. And so we're doing a goat for them, an actual pop-up goat, because that's just cool. And I had some fun with her. I said, "Did you have a logo and image? Because that's typically, you can build from that." And she said, "Well, yeah, I do, but could I actually do like a real goat?" And I said, "Well, in theory, but if we're doing a 3D model or picture like that, we typically have, pictures from all sides, angles, and top down and stuff. So I said, you'd need to have your goat there and take, smile, take a picture, take the side, take the back end." And she's like, okay, I'll do that. And so this is coming out. I don't know what it'll look like, but it's cool. It's something different, new. And if you get that when you book that event, or if you're eating there or get a gift card from it and you see the goat pop up, you're going to tell people about it. It's so bizarre and out there. So yeah, there's another one. Now, I don't know if I don't want to end things and have people leave screaming because they're so scared of this, but I'm going to put it out there. This is my business card now, my new one. I don't
Okay.
even know if I've shown you this one, but I want to be marketing. I want to share top of mind awareness. I want people to understand the power of being remembered.
Okay.
So what I did is I thought if people put business cards out, they have their picture on it, to help people remember.
Sure.
So I said, well, let's take it to the next level. Here we go. That is my head business card. And you're exhibiting it perfectly, right? I have some people that go, that's kind of freaky, kind of scary. Some people go, hmm. Other people laugh, but every single person I've talked to, I kind of joke afterwards and I say, yeah, so you've seen it, whatever. Are you ever going to forget me? Like,
No.
nope, nope. And I was like, exactly. That's the power of it. And there's all kinds of different things. I don't know. Yeah, I want to continue. The Sam, I think it is, the person that runs the show, in the commercial there, I heard him talking about charities and fundraising nonprofits.
Yes.
That was very interesting and appealing to me because we actually use these cards a lot in those. Again, if you think about white collar or black tie dinners, fundraisers, universities, alumni, charity fundraising events, golf tournaments, you can go all on and on.
Yeah.
But they all have invitations, so people need to be invited out. What better way to express something? An art gallery opening with a unique piece of art that pops out, a symphony with a grand piano that pops out, things like that. So it's really cool for applications that way, and again, gets people out effective. Maybe even more so though, you want to have those big donors come out. You want to have the fundraising, and those people, again, what do they not have? They have everything. They've seen it all. I mean, they have all this money to donate and give away. So
Yeah.
how do you find something different for them? Well, if this single event, this whatever black tie dinner, this gallery opening, if we could make a card specifically for that, possibly as an invitation, but even more so as a thank you. Thank you for your donation. Thank you for that kind of
That's right.
Exactly. And these people that get it, they've never gotten one of these. I can guarantee they've never gotten one of these before because what you create is completely unique. And that is, again, that's appealing for people that have everything. They, it's hard to impress them, and this does. So, off the air or afterwards, I want to talk to Sam about that because I love the impact that has for charities and fundraising and the ability to show the recognition and rewards as well. Yeah.
Okay. That's great. And so it looks like we're up against another our final
Time
break.
flies. Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
I said time flies when you're having fun.
It does. And you have more than that I hadn't seen before. This is really cool.
Yeah.
So okay, so we're going to go on to the break
Yeah.
and we'll be right back.
All right.
Were you an essential worker during the pandemic? If you needed to learn stages of epilepsy, did you depend on advocates? Did you use new innovations to cope with mental and neurological issues? Maintaining high quality of life and keeping good mental health are what we all strive for. I'm Frank R. Harrison, host of Frank About Health, and each week top healthcare influencers, professionals, and innovators answer these questions and more. Stay tuned on Thursdays at 5 p.m. on talkradio.nyc, and I will continue to be frank about health with all of you.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Well, welcome back to the Nitty Gritty Entrepreneur with your host, Linda Wimple, and our guest, Dean Stanzel. Dean, did you want to continue from what you were talking about?
I'm making a plug here. Advertising, I guess, works because every commercial I hear something that inspires me to think of something else. So the mental health side of it, this isn't what this card was created for, but I've actually thought about promoting it in that capacity. So a little card, you kind of get the idea.
Oh my-
That's the card. But imagine as a fundraiser for an event on Alzheimer's or mental health, if that was what you were getting. I mean, thematically, we've got ones with the valves in a heart, lots of different organs. Don't get too creepy here, but again, it's the impact, it's the difference. We have ones with golf tournaments, actual golfers swinging or hole-in-one, stuff like that. Any kind of event. We've got NASCARs and race cars, Formula One, big rigs and things like that. It's incredible across the board.
And those cards are easy to write on.
Oh yeah, it's paper.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
hard to see over a camera, but it's actually it's called kirigami, and it's a Vietnamese art form. It's actual like origami, but it's paper folded specifically into pop-up cards. It's an actual class. There's actual, science behind it. People learn about how to do it, but it comes from the Vietnamese culture. And you probably can't see it there, but these are physical, paper, tangible, laser cut. Like it's not a 3D replica. It's not a mass produced printed thing. They're hand built. And, we can print on them if you want, but it's just like any other kind of high quality paper that you can write on.
Okay. Okay. I just didn't know about the thickness, it doesn't
Yeah,
look like this thin paper.
no, like you can even see the depth. Well,
Oh, there
maybe,
you go.
but yeah, it's
Okay.
definitely got multiple layers kind of through it, and that's what gives them multiple colors and things like that. But yeah, for sure. So, what else would you like to know? You want to know about more cards? I could talk about cards all day. If you ever want to jump down the rabbit hole, I've got probably 400 of these different ones with stories, and you can check them all out and see them. And it's just really fun. But I warn you, once you start looking at them, it does tend to get addictive and you keep going and going and going. Uh,
Do
but
you have
yeah,
any, do you have any more to show?
I have boxes full,
Oh,
but I don't know if there's, okay, so here's one that a lot of people just get a kick out of. And this one is for national business capital, so capital fundraising. Ta-da.
oh my.
There's $1 million in cash. That's kind of a fun one. From a technological standpoint or technology, this company, man, I should actually charge these guys for advertising credits, but this company did this one. And what that is a very sophisticated new piece of machinery that they've developed, and they wanted to offer it to hospitals and other things. So how do you promote yourself? Do you send in the normal, glossy PDF or something or email? Check out
Right.
our new thing. Well, will they read it? Will they see it? Maybe, maybe not. But I can guarantee that if that gets sent to a doctor, they're at least going to be shown it and open it and have that chuckle. That at the very least. And that sometimes is worth its weight in gold and even enough just by itself to justify to crack that door open just enough to get in. So there's things like that. Um, I actually I'll talk about this too. The
It's every industry.
yeah, every honestly, I think every industry can benefit, but then again, I'm biased. But one of the things along the theme of what I've been talking about is anybody that's going to lots of in-person networking, places you'd think about traditionally giving out and exchanging cards, and or events, vendors, trade shows, things like that. It's it's an unbelievable and unbeatable type of giveaway. Uh, I've been, I've seen it, and everybody's seen it so many times. You get the swag bags with the notepad and the pen or whatever else, and it's really disheartening on many levels to see people throwing them out, halfway down the aisle. Sometimes they just take them to shut you up. I've been there. Yeah, yeah, thanks. Move on. But it doesn't do anything. So I look at that on a number of different levels and go, well, why are people spending money on this? They know it doesn't do anything, but you feel like you have to. So again, totally self-promotion. Having a card like that as a giveaway or as the business card, A, people keep it. They will at least look at it. But here's the really cool part is they take it out and they play with it as they're walking down because it's different, it's unique. And other people see it. And when they see it, inevitably they're like, oh, that's cool. Where'd you get it? Now, if you're in a trade show with hundreds of other vendors and you can have people that have come by your booth talking to other people in the trade show about you, and inevitably what happens is, oh, that's kind of cool. Yeah, they're over there. I'll go get one, right? And it's in one sense, it has nothing to do with your business, right? Really, they don't care. They just want the pop-up. But it drives traffic, which increases the effectiveness of the booth and the impact from it. And it gets somebody, lots of people coming over to your booth that wouldn't have otherwise come there. And that's why we're at trade shows. So anybody that does those kind of vending events where they're seeing lots of people and wanting to stand out and be different, that's an incredible one. If you had a home builder that had, custom home as their card that was a giveaway, you can imagine you get that, oh, that's cute. Like you saw this one and they say, oh yeah, that's the home builder over there. You should go check it out. It's incredible. So simple, so easy, but so powerful.
Yep.
Yep.
The visibility is just like you've been saying.
Yep.
It's
And
it's
there's companies that like there's large scale. We're the only company that does them on the small kind of quantity basis that really nobody else does. So it excludes so many businesses and people that are in that middle ground. But that being said, we do work with enterprise companies. We have people that'll do. One of my favorite stories is a pharmaceutical company who came out with a new drug, and their pop-up was a molecular reproduction of their drug. So the actual atoms and the electrons and stuff like that. Now, it's anybody that doesn't know what it is, it's just like, oh, whatever. But it's cool to me because I like the science, but it's also something that's unique enough that if you give that to a clinic and you say, hey, here's our new product, again, breaking the ice, getting in the door, even for follow-up. That's something I've done with the knives too in prospecting, even cold prospecting, is if you people are used to being and don't like being marketed to, but people love getting gifts and being shown appreciation, genuinely. So if you send something like the card, or I've done it with, high level prospects, something like the knives, and don't do it for you, do it for them. I'll take their logo, maybe find a phrase or something that they're interested in and really personalize it to that other person and send it to them. And this is the part most people kind of look at me weirdly is I don't send it with anything. I don't have my business card. I don't have a letter. I don't have an introduction. I don't have an ask, nothing. And they say, well, that's, spending $100 on sending this thing. Oh, that's pretty risky or whatever. But I know that when it's sent, and especially if there's no marketing, it will be delivered to the person I'm sending it to. No gatekeeper is going to say, no, I'm just going to keep this and not give them the gift, right? Second thing is when they get it, they will open it and it will generate curiosity. Maybe even more so because there's nothing with it. There's no ask or anything like that. Um, but then I will follow up a few weeks later and just check if they got the gift. And again, who's going to get in the way of saying, I want to talk to Frank and just make sure he got my gift? Well, they're not going to step in the way of that. So I actually get on the phone with this person. And then we start talking. And again, I'm not pitching at all. I don't need to sell because we've started a conversation. That's the whole thing. I wanted to just get in and talk to the person. But we start having the conversation, and here's where the human nature, inevitably things, come back to you. After they see it, they love it. Oh, great, thank you so much. Why did you do it? And so on. The natural question then becomes, so what is it you do? Now, in my case, it's the knives, but if it's sent for any other purpose, it's the same thing. That it will naturally beg the question of why did you send this? What did you do? Which is an invite from the person you're talking to tell them about what you do. And that's, I mean, it's just turning everything on its head and it's so effective. So,
That's
go
well,
ahead.
that's thank you. Thank
You're welcome.
you. Thank you for sharing that, Dean. I did want to, before we end, I did want
Mhm.
to find out what is the best way for
Oh,
people to contact you.
well, I'm one of those strange people nowadays that will actually take a phone call. So phone is always great. And my number is 306-229-6411. My email, dean at topofmindgifts.ca, which you probably have. And on the card side, dean at strategic3dcards.com. And that's the websites as well. I think they'll all be in the credits, but reach out. And you know what? If anybody looking for connections, wants to talk more about this strategy. I don't have unlimited time, but I'm happy to talk to people and share. I love what I do. So yeah, that's the best way to reach out and love to help people.
Thank you so much, Dean. And thank you, listeners for tuning in. So remember to come back next week on Thursday at 4:00 p.m. Eastern Time or 1:00 Pacific.
And I won't be
Take
here to take all the time and hug all the messages. So
so thanks everyone, and we will see you next week.
thanks for having me.